Honoring parents, but not obeying them in idol worship. Part 1. The Sacred Bond and the Test of Faith. Introduction. In every culture, every time, and every generation, parents hold a sacred place in the hearts of their children. They are the first faces we see, the first hands that hold us, and the first voices that comfort us. The Quran honors this bond deeply. It teaches that honoring our parents is not just an act of love, it is an act of faith. But along with this command comes a divine boundary. Our loyalty to God must always come first. We are to love our parents, respect them, care for them, and pray for them. But if they try to lead us toward idol worship, if they pressure us to set up partners beside God, then we must not obey them. This is not rebellion. This is obedience to the one who created both us and them, the one who is above all relationships, the one to whom we all ultimately return. The divine command to honor parents. The Quran repeatedly joins the command to worship God with the command to honor parents. This pairing shows us that parental respect is not a social courtesy. It is a divine duty. Chapter 17, verse 23. Your Lord has decreed that you shall not worship except Him, and your parents shall be honored. As long as one or both of them live, you shall never say to them, of the slightest gesture of annoyance, nor shall you shout at them. You shall treat them amicably. Chapter 17, verse 24. And lower for them the wings of humility and kindness, and say, My Lord, have mercy on them, for they have raised me from infancy. The image is beautiful, lowering the wings of humility. It is a call to gentleness, to patience, to remembering the sacrifices that parents make, even when they grow old and dependent, even when their words may sometimes hurt. This is how believers show gratitude with tenderness, with mercy, and with prayer. The hardship of parenthood. The Quran reminds us not to forget what our parents endured for us. Chapter 46, verse 15. We enjoined the human being to honor his parents. His mother bore him arduously, gave birth to him arduously, and took intimate care of him for 30 months. When he reaches maturity, and reaches the age of 40, he should say, My Lord, direct me to appreciate the blessings you have bestowed upon me and upon my parents, and to do the righteous works that please you. Let my children be righteous as well. I have repented to you. I am a This verse captures the full cycle of life. The parent caring for the child growing up, and eventually becoming a parent too. Through it all, gratitude is the constant link. God teaches us that gratitude to Him and gratitude to parents walk hand in hand, but they are not equal. We are grateful to our parents because of God, not instead of God. The ultimate authority belongs to God. Love for parents is one of the deepest emotions a person can feel, but this love must never cross the line of obedience that belongs only to the Creator. God warns us gently but clearly. Chapter 29, verse 8. We enjoined the human being to honor his parents. But if they try to force you to set up idols beside me, do not obey them. To me is your ultimate return, and I will inform you of everything you have done. This verse is a powerful reminder of spiritual boundaries. It acknowledges the pull of family, the emotional weight of obedience, but it sets the priority straight. Obedience to parents is conditional. Obedience to God is absolute. A believer's heart must stay loyal to the truth, even when love and faith seem to collide. The test of faith within the family. Family is often the first test of belief. Many of God's messengers faced opposition not from strangers, but from their own parents or relatives. One of the clearest examples is the story of Abraham. As a young man, Abraham saw his father and his people worshiping statues. He questioned them with wisdom and sincerity. Chapter 6, verse 74. Recall that Abraham said to his father Azar, How could you worship statues as gods? I see that you and your people have gone far astray. He didn't insult his father. He didn't respond with anger or arrogance. He spoke with clarity, appealing to reason and truth. When his father rejected him and threatened him, Abraham still replied with peace. Chapter 19 verse 47. He said, "Peace be upon you. I will implore my Lord to forgive you. He has been most kind to me." Abraham's story is the perfect example of how a believer should behave. He refused to obey falsehood, but he never stopped showing respect. He remained calm, respectful, and firm. That's the same principle God gives to every believer. Chapter 31 verse 15. If they try to force you to set up any idols beside me, do not obey them, but continue to treat them amicably in this world. You shall follow only the path of those who have submitted to me. Ultimately, you all return to me, then I will inform you of everything you have done. What a balanced command! Do not obey them, but keep company with them amicably. Do not join them in falsehood, but do not abandon kindness. This is the spiritual maturity that submission to God alone requires. Understanding idol worship. Idolatry, or shirk, is not limited to carved statues or ancient rituals. The Quran broadens the meaning. An idol is anything that takes a place beside God in our hearts, our obedience, or our worship. Chapter 21 verse 25. Do not set up any idols beside God. I am your only Lord. You shall worship me alone. Chapter 42 verse 21. They follow idols who decree for them religious laws never authorized by God. So, if parents, even with love and sincerity, try to make their children follow traditions or beliefs that contradict God's revelation, it becomes a form of idol worship. It could be following cultural customs that replace divine commands, or obeying human authorities in religious matters without evidence from God in those moments. Believers must be gentle yet firm, respectful in tone, but unshakable in faith. God reassures us. Chapter 29 verse 8. To me is your ultimate return, and I will inform you of everything you have done. The balance between love and loyalty. Love for one's parents is natural. It's part of our design placed in our hearts by the Creator Himself. But even this love must stay balanced under the light of divine guidance. True love is not blind. True love does not lead someone into disobedience to God. When parents pressure a believer to compromise their faith, the Quran teaches that the believer must stand firm, not in rebellion, but in clarity and compassion. Because real loyalty is not to people, it is to the truth. In fact, standing by the truth is itself a mercy to one's parents, even if they don't recognize it immediately. You are not rejecting them. You are refusing falsehood out of love for both them and your Creator. The test of family love. God tells us that love for family, children, and wealth are among life's greatest tests. Chapter 64 verse 15. Your money and your children are a test, but with God is a great recompense. Love can either elevate us or lead us astray. When love becomes greater than truth, it turns into a chain. But when love submits to truth, it becomes light. A believer understands that every relationship, even the dearest, one must stay within the boundaries of faith. When those boundaries are tested, God calls us to patience, not hostility. He asks us to continue treating our parents well, but to reserve our obedience for Him alone. Gratitude, the bridge between generations. The Quran teaches that gratitude is at the core of faith. Chapter 31 verse 14. We enjoined the human being to honor his parents. His mother bore him with hardship upon hardship, and his weaning takes 2 years. You shall be appreciative of me, and of your parents. To me is the ultimate destiny. Notice the order. Be appreciative of me, and of your parents. We are to be grateful to our parents through our gratitude to God, not separate from it. Gratitude that ignores the Creator is incomplete. By being good to our parents, for God's sake, we make that goodness sacred. Disobedience without disrespect. It's important to understand what the Quran means by do not obey them. It doesn't mean cutting them off, speaking harshly, or showing pride. It means that in matters of faith, in belief, in worship, in truth, you cannot follow them if they go against God's command. But in worldly matters, care, kindness, and service you remain devoted and gentle. Why God draws this line? Why does God set this boundary so clearly? Because idol worship, in any form, destroys spiritual freedom. God alone is the source of truth, mercy, and justice. To give anyone, even parents, authority over our faith is to lose that freedom and surrender to human control. This is why the Quran repeats. Chapter 17 verse 22. You shall not set up any idols beside God. Chapter 4 verse 48. God does not forgive idol worship, but He forgives lesser offenses for whomever He wills. Obeying parents in righteousness is an act of worship. Obeying them in idol worship is disobedience to God, and the Quran draws this line not to divide families, but to purify love, to make sure that love never becomes a false god. The example of Abraham and his father. Let's return again to the story of Abraham, because it is one of the clearest examples of this principle. When Abraham confronted his father about idol worship, it was not out of defiance, it was out of compassion. He saw his father's sincerity but also his and his tone was always respectful. Chapter 19 verse 45. O my father, I fear lest you incur retribution from the most gracious, that you may become an ally of the devil. Even as his father rejected him, Abraham stayed calm. He didn't abandon his family in anger. He simply refused to obey in falsehood. That's the standard of faith the Quran sets for all believers. Patience, peace, and firmness in truth. Faith is a personal responsibility. Each soul is accountable before God alone. We cannot rely on our parents' beliefs, nor can we shift responsibility for our actions onto them. Chapter 6 verse 164. No soul can bear the sins of another soul. Every human being is responsible for his own works. This means that on the day of judgment, our parents will not answer for our worship, and we will not answer for theirs. Therefore, obedience in religion can never override conscience. We must each stand before God with our own truth, our own submission, our own faith. Conclusion of Part 1. So far, we've learned that the Quran commands us to honor our parents, to speak kindly, to show mercy, and to be grateful for their sacrifices. But we've also learned that our obedience has a sacred limit. If parents call us to idolize others beside God, we must not obey them, but we must remain loving, peaceful, and respectful. Because true honor is not in blind obedience. It is in standing firm with kindness, in choosing truth without cruelty, and in remembering that our ultimate return is to God alone.